guys, welcome back to PerkyTomato, and today I'm going to be reading chapter 3 out of the story Meet Kit out of Kit's Story Collection. This is an American Girl book series, and this has a lot of compilations of Kit's stories. So we're on chapter 3, and also, you're not gonna be really able to read along with me since it's kind of angled like this. So let me know if you like this or if you don't like this. So let's just start. Also, if I read kind of fast, it's because I don't want to, I'm trying to be respectful of your time. So let's start. Chapter 3, It's Not Fair. Pounding the typewriter keys as hard as she could made Kit feel better. The good thing about writing was that she got to tell the whole story without anyone interrupting or contradicting her. Kit was pleased with her article when it was finished. It explained exactly what happened and how the teacup was broken. And then at the end it said, sometimes a person is trying to do something nice for another person and it turns out badly by mistake. When something bad happens, it isn't anyone's fault. Grammar. No one should be blamed. It's not fair. Kit pulled her article out of the typewriter and marched outside to sit on the steps and wait for Dad to come home. She brought her book and about Robin Hood to read while she waited. She had not been reading long before the screen door squeaked open and slammed behind her. Kit didn't even lift her eyes off the page. Charlie sat next to her. "Hi," he said. Kit didn't answer. She was a little put out with Charlie for adding to the trouble in Sterling's room. "What's eating you, Squirt?" Charlie asked. "Nothing," said Kit, as huffily as she could. Charlie looked at the piece of paper next to Kit. "Is that one of your newspapers for Dad?" he asked. "Yep," said Kit. Charlie looked at the piece of paper next to Kit. Oh, sorry. Charlie picked up Kit's newspaper and looked at the headline. "It's not fair," he read aloud. Then he asked, "What's this all about?" "It's about how wrong it is to blame people for things that aren't their fault," said Kit. "For example, me for the mess this afternoon." "Aw, come on, Kit," said Charlie. "That's nothing. You shouldn't make such a big deal of it. That's easy for you to say," she said. Charlie took a deep breath in and then let it out. "Listen, Kit," he said, in a voice that was suddenly serious. "I wouldn't bother Dad with this newspaper today if I were you." Kit slammed her book shut and looked sideways at Charlie. "And why not?" she asked. Charlie glanced over his shoulder to be sure that no one except Kit would hear him. "You know how lots of people have lost their jobs because of the Depression, he asked. "Sure," said Kit. "Like Mr. Howard?" "Well," said Charlie, "yesterday told Mother and me that he's closing down his car dealership and going out of business." "What?" said Kit. She was horrified. "But," she sputtered, "but why?" "Why do you think?" said Charlie. "Because nobody has money to buy a car anymore. They haven't for a long time now." "Well, how come Dad didn't say anything before this?" Kit asked. "He didn't want us to worry," said Charlie, "and he kept hoping things would get better if he just hung on. He didn't even fire any of his..." That's the picture. "Any of his salesmen. He used his own savings to keep paying their salaries." "What's Dad going to do now?" asked Kit. "I don't know," said Charlie. "He even has to give back his own car. He can't afford it anymore. I guess he'll look for another job. That's pretty hopeless these days." Kit was sure that Charlie was wrong. "Anyone can see that Dad's smart and hardworking," she said. "And he has so many friends. People still remember him from when he was a baseball star in college. Plenty of people will be glad to hire him." Charlie shrugged. "There just aren't any jobs to be had. Why do you think the people are going away? Dad's not going to leave like Mr. Howard did," said Kit, struck by that terrible thought. Then she was struck by another terrible thought. "We're not going to lose our house like the Howards are. Howards, are we?" "I don't know," said Charlie again. Kit could hardly breathe. "It'll be a struggle to keep it," said Charlie. "Dad told me that he and Mother don't own the house completely. They borrowed money from the bank to buy it, and they have to pay the bank back a little every month. It's called a mortgage. If they don't have enough money to pay the mortgage, The bank can't take the house back. Well, the people at the bank won't just kick us onto the street, will they? Kit asked. Yes, said Charlie. That's exactly what they'll do. You've seen those pictures in the newspapers of whole families and all their belongings out on the street with nowhere to go. That is not going to happen to us, said Kit fiercely. It's not. I hope not, said Charlie. Listen, said Kit. How come Dad told Mother and you about losing his job, but not me? Charlie sighed in a huge sigh. Dad told me, he said slowly, because it means that I won't be able to go to college. Oh, Charlie, wailed Kit, full of sympathy and misery. She knew that Charlie had been looking forward to go to college so much, and now he couldn't go. That's terrible. That's awful. It's not fair. Kit grinned a cheerless grin and tapped one finger on Kit's newspaper. Whoops, I just ripped the page. That's your headline, isn't it? He said. These days, a lot of things happen that aren't fair. There's no one to blame, and there's nothing that can be done about it. Charlie's voice sounded tired, as if he's grown old all of a sudden. You'd better get used to it, Kit. Life's not like books. There's no bad guy, and sometimes there's no happily ever after either. At that moment, Kit felt an odd sensation. Things were happening so fast. It was as if a match had been struck inside her and a little flame was lit, burning like anger, flickering like fear. Charlie, she asked, what's going to happen to us? I don't know, said Charlie. He stood up to go. Wait, said Kit. How come you told me about Dad? Was it just to stop me from bothering Dad with the newspaper? No, said Charlie. No, I told you because... He paused. Because you're part of this family and I figured you deserved to know. Thanks, Charlie, said Kit. She was grateful to Charlie for treating her like a grown-up. I'm glad you told me, she said, even though I wish none of it were true. Me too, said Charlie. Me too. To her. But then Kit stood up and straightened her shoulders. Everything else in the whole world might change for Dad, but she wouldn't. Kit ran to Dad the way she had done every other night of her life when he came home. Dad caught her up and swung her around. When he put her down, Kit looked Dad straight in the eye. Charlie told me, she said. Is it true? Dad knelt down so that his eyes were level with Kit's. Yes, he said, it is. Are we going to be all right? Kit asked. I don't know, said Dad. I truly don't know. Kit threw her arms around Dad and hugged him hard. She crumpled up her newspaper in her fist behind Dad's back. Her complaints about Sterling and the teacup seemed silly and babyish now. Charlie was right. Dad didn't need to read her newspaper. Dad knew all about trying to be nice, to help people and having it turn out badly. He knew all about having bad things happen that were nobody's fault. He knew all about things that were not fair. Kate was a practical girl. She thought it was a waste of time to worry about a problem when you could be doing something to solve it. But her family had never had a problem as serious as this one before. All night long, Kit lay awake thinking, listening to Sterling cough and worrying. The night was very hot. Kit kicked her sheet off and turned her pillow over time and time again because it was getting sweaty so fast. Finally, Kit got up. It always made her feel better to write. She took her notepad and a pencil out of her desk and sat at the window in the moonlight. She decided to make a list of all the ways she could save the family some money. No dancing lessons, no fancy dresses for dancing lessons. Kit looked at her list and scolded herself. It was all very well to give up dancing lessons and fancy dresses. Those were things she didn't want, but how about things she did want? Kit looked out the window. Then suddenly she added to her list. No lumber for a treehouse, no new books, no tickets to baseball games, no sweets. There, thought Kit, I'll show Dad my list tomorrow. But by the time Kit went downstairs to breakfast that morning, Dad had already left. He's gone to meet a business friend, said Mother. It'd be great if his friend offered Dad a job, wouldn't it? Said Kit. Yes, said Mother, it would, she smiled, but it wasn't one of her real smiles. Kit felt all restless and jumpy. She wanted to be alone so that she could think on and work on her list some more. What? Nice. She wandered around the yard for a while before she found a good hideaway under the back porch. No one will find me here, she thought. But she had not been hidden for long before Ruthie crawled in next to her. How do you always find me? asked Kit. Ruthie shrugged. It's easy, she said. I just think where I'd be if I were you, and that's where you are. Why are you hiding, by the way? My dad lost his job, said Kit. Oh, said Ruthie softly. That's too bad. I'm sorry. The girls sat together in silence for a minute. That was a good thing about Ruthie. She'd sit and think with Kit. She didn't need to talk all the time. What are you going to do? Ruthie asked at last. Kit handed Ruthie her list. These are ways I can help save money, she said. Ruthie read the list. These are good, she said. These will help, but her voice sounded doubtful. Kit sighed. The truth is, I've just never given money much thought before, said Kit. Here's the picture. I know, said Ruthie. Me neither. Kit understood that when Dad sold a car, people gave him money. Dad gave some of the money to Mother. She used it to buy food and clothes and pay the electric bill and the iceman and to get things for the house. Once a month, Dad paid the bank $25, which, as Charles had explained, was part of the money that Dad and Mother owed the bank because they borrowed it when they bought the house. If there was any money left over after everything was paid, Dad put it in his savings account at the bank. Without Dad's job, said Kit to Ruthie, there won't be any more money coming in, and Charlie said that Dad used up most of his savings to pay his salesman as long as he could. So soon there won't be any money left in savings. What'll we do then? I've read lots of books about people who have no money, said Ruthie. Me too, said Kit. But most of them lived in the olden days on farms or in a forest, where they could get at least nuts and berries. We live in modern times in Cincinnati. How will we get food when our money is gone? Will we move to a farm? I don't think your mother would like that, said Ruthie. No, Kit sighed. Besides, none of us knows anything about farming. Ruthie scratched her knee. I think, she said, slowly, we're going to have to hope that your dad gets another job. Yep, said Kit. Maybe today. She looked at Ruthie. What a great headline that would be. The next chapter is Mother's Brainstorm. Okay, nice. So that's interesting. Wait, let's move the marker. So that was chapter 3. Make sure you stay tuned next Friday for chapter 4 in this beautiful book. And yeah. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below because I love talking to you guys. And I will see you in my next video. Bye! If you're sleeping, I'm just kidding. Good night.